My name is Dealinair Shook, and I am the information collector. Today I'm coming to you from the upstate of South Carolina, where it's dreary and chilly, like much of the nation. And I decided that instead of venturing into the drear and the chill, I would come to you with a reminder of a dreary and not so chilly day on Folly Beach near Charleston. The weather pattern that has settled in over the nation, it has affected millions. And obviously those in Texas are the ones we've heard the most about. We all need to be in prayer for these people. We need to be in prayer for local officials and power companies who are scrambling to deal with this crisis. And we need to pray that steps are taken so this won't happen again. So let's pause for a moment and pray for those in Texas and those around the nation affected by this weather. Last Friday, Canada, in a press release, announced the launch and success of its Blue Economy Initiative. This is an effort to grow the ocean sectors of their economy with an emphasis on job creation, inclusion, and conservation. The press release particularly emphasized roundtable discussion and engagement with indigenous peoples. In 2019, the ocean-based economy comprised 1.6% of their GDP at $31.7 billion. That's a big economy. And provided 300,000 jobs. Last Saturday, the United Kingdom's Transport Secretary Grant Shapps praised the role the transport sector has played in the vaccine rollout. And yet another sign of the COVID-19 pandemic ending due to vaccination and leadership, the Secretary mentioned the new rail and bus routes and stops which have been added by industry in the United Kingdom. This includes new and free services. Many projects were mentioned, but a few of the highlights are Metrobus and the National Health Service provided a mobile vaccination unit in a bus to reach communities in Crowley. The Great Western Railway provided additional rail stops between Paddington and Bedwin for better access to the vaccination center at Hartlepool's Newbury Racecourse. In Derby, they actually have a bus that during the day will be running every 30 minutes. And the Harrogate Bus Company has a free bus service just for vaccinations. Last Saturday, the United Kingdom's Office for Zero Emission Vehicles announced it was putting up to £50 million in vehicle charging stations. This will increase the convenience and reliability of public charging stations. The Electric Vehicle Home Charge Scheme will provide £350 toward charging points in homes with emphasis on rented and leased residences. The Workplace Charging Scheme will provide funds to small to medium enterprises and the charity sector. The press release mentioned that they will focus on bed and breakfast with the intent of helping rural areas and reducing range anxiety. In other words, people not going that far because they're concerned about running out of a charge. This looks toward the end of sales of new gasoline and diesel vehicles by 2030 and the goal of net zero emissions by 2050. Over the past year, there have been many efforts by state, federal, and local officials to help those affected by the pandemic. In fact, earlier this year, the question was not whether or not to assist those affected, but whether to give a check of $600 or $2,000. When Sweden decided it needed to help its COVID-19 affected businesses with 14 billion kroner, the question was whether or not the European Union would allow it. And this is a very good example of how the European Union affects life within member states. The European Union allows, there are no borders. So you can travel from one country to another with no bureaucracy. But they do have a vice president of competition policy. And last Friday, in a press release, the European Union announced the approval of the 1.4 billion euro aid package. This is 14 billion Swedish kroners. The European Union's Vice President of Competition Policy cited a, quote, significant decline in their revenues, the companies, as a reason. Now, these are direct grants to cover declines in revenue that began in August. And under Article 107, subsection 3, subsection B of the European Union, the assistance will not be open to the financial sector. Like I said, they begin covering losses in August. No company can get more than 10 million euros. Farms can only get 225,000 euros. Fisheries can only get 270,000 euros. Companies will get bonuses if they are involved in COVID-19 and it's a cross-border venture being conducted with a company in another European Union country. And among other things, each company has a ban on dividends and a cap for management salary. Last Friday, in a press release, Samaritan's Purse shared how their DC-8 flew 30 tons of assistance to Ethiopia's Tigray region.
We are ready for descent. November Sierra Bombay.
This region has been hit hard not only by a recent rebellion, but also by locust swarms, which impacted the region, well, all of East Africa over the past few years. The 30 tons are ready to use supplemental food aid. It will feed 18,000 children for a month. In addition, disaster assistance response teams already on the ground in Tigray have distributed food being trucked in. These are food baskets that have fed 1,000 families for a month. Each food basket contains rice, wheat, flour, beans, cooking oil, and salt. They also distributed hygiene kits, solar lights, and cooking gear to the families. We need to pray for the people in this region and what they're suffering. Last Wednesday, Lufthansa announced that it had spun off a mobility app. This is not a ride-sharing app. This is an application for consumers that, with the goal of, quote, redefine and simplify access to modern mobility. And it is very impressive. Lufthansa Innovation Hub has spun off Rides, an app allowing access to multiple rides, cars, bicycles, e-scooters, ride sharing, even public transit. It's also a B2B mobility app, business to business, focusing on companies and the, quote, the trend toward flexible and decentralized employment, in other words, working from home. And that's why the goal is to replace the company car. This idea actually was initially a concept of a loyalty program that would stretch across Uber, Lyft, and other ride-sharing programs. A stake in the venture has been bought by Forward 31, which is a subsidiary of Porsche.